Speaker Boehner is trying to decide where he is. Pick an issue. How about the Farm Bill? Last year's Farm Bill, this year's Farm Bill. He has dissension in his own ranks. We know that. Now, immigration, he is saying the bipartisan bill that we've done, he is not going to touch that. Now, they're running ads. Conservative organizations are running ads now saying, Mr. Boehner and Republicans, why don't you do something about this? So I guess I feel sorry for the Speaker.
Harry Reid, old Dr. Smith, feels sorry for the Speaker. Well, last time I checked, he was Speaker of the House. Y'all don't have the House. Republicans do. And they have a duty to represent their constituents and fight for what's best for the American people. Not for this or that aggrieved group, but the American people, and specifically their districts. And for the caterwauling that we've heard from La Raza or from some of the unions or folks like the Wall Street Journal editorial page today. We'll have to make a choice about whether we're the party, the GOP is the party of closed minds and closed borders, or of something quite different. Oh man, that's just bad writing. Anyway, I'm about to hit send, so that piece is going to be up on Shut Up and Blog in a matter of seconds. So go to the website, lauraingraham.com. Garrett tweeted out. All my friends on the Wall Street Journal editorial page are going to be happy to see it, I'm sure. When I see them at the elevator bank in New York, they never seem too happy to see me. I lose a lot of sleep over that. Well, the goal is to keep wages low, keep business happy, and make sure the global economy continues, I guess, to run up these huge trade deficits for the United States. That's all working out well for us. As, by the way, we have a new piece in Bloomberg today about how the IMF is lowering its projection for global growth because of a decline in U.S. economic expansion. So how's that labor shortage that Paul Ryan is always warning about? We have a labor shortage. We have declining growth now measured globally by the IMF. We're contracting, not expanding as we should. Why do we need millions of new workers then? Joining us now, I'm delighted he's with us. And I knew him when. He's just a little old mayor, Congressman Lou Barletta from the great state of Pennsylvania. He's going to tell us what's going to happen at this closed-door meeting. I have a question, Congressman. Are you in a corner of a room somewhere in the bowels of the House and whispering to me because it's a closed-door private meeting? How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Laura. Nice to talk to you again.
Nice to talk to you.
I've been very vocal from the time I was mayor of a small town in Pennsylvania to the halls of Congress, and the fact that the people here in this city is really what caused our illegal immigration problem by not enforcing the laws. We could pass all the great laws in the world, but if we don't enforce them, this is why we have this problem. We have immigration laws that worked. A policy that worked. The fact is we have administrations, not one, administrations who have decided that they would rather put what's in the national best interest of their national party ahead of what's in the national best interest of the American people.
Well, what's amazing is you think about what a great gift actually this Senate vote was for the Republicans going into the 2014 elections, because I think Republicans could spend most of 2014 campaigning on the fact that Senate Democrats unanimously voted for a 1,200-page bill that would lower American wages and increase unemployment.
Yeah, the people, let's face it, when we talk about illegal immigration, or immigration at all, the focus is always on the Latino population here, when we know that that's not the case. Nearly half of the people that come in the country illegally didn't cross the southern border. They come on a visa expires, they simply disappear, and we have no way of tracking them. But, I like to look back at 1986 because we have a lot of high-paid consultants here that are telling everyone that we need to do this to get this issue off the table, and that is ridiculous. But back in 1986, Republicans actually did worse after the 86 amnesty. And in my case, I like to use as an example, my city was 49% Hispanic. Nobody took a harder stance against illegal immigration than I did back in 2006, and I won with 90% of the vote of my city.
Oh my God! I didn't even realize that. I'm talking about my lack of preparation the first day back of vacation. I didn't realize your district was that heavily weighted to the Latino vote.
It wasn't, and our
Wow.
Hispanic population grew every year since I introduced the ordinance, which also defies the logic that I was chasing Latinos out of Hazleton.
I remember that.
When in reality, people were coming in, and if you speak to people and let them know who's going to be hurt the most by illegal immigration are the most vulnerable people, the people at the lower end of the
wages.
economic ladder. Right. How about the mom? Everyone always asks me, well, Congressman, what would you do with the 11 million people? And my answer is, what are you going to do about the 22 million Americans that are out of work?
Bingo.
How about the single mom that's working 3 jobs, washing dishes, cleaning hotel rooms, bussing tables to provide food for their family? Where does she go when she's pushed out of a job? Where do our high school dropouts, those men and women, go when they're Why is the focus always on people who knowingly came here illegally and never on the victims who did nothing to cause this problem?
Well, Paul Ryan came on this show a few weeks ago, and he's an old friend of mine. I mean, I've always liked Paul Ryan, and I'm not saying this to try to, lessen the blow here, but I just took him apart on this idea that there was a coming labor shortage. He's actually making the case for and Mr. Budget, who's so good on numbers, and he's making the case that we have a labor shortage in the offing when we have a pathetically low GDP and with no sign that the GDP is going to be increasing and a global expansion that is declining, according to the IMF today, in focusing on the United States. And somehow we're talking about a labor shortage to bring in all these foreign workers?
And as well are my conservative friends who are ignoring what the cost of the Senate bill will be, $6.3 trillion. But also what they don't talk about is how we're putting the American worker at even greater disadvantage besides depressing their wages. Now, because illegal aliens will be exempt from Obamacare, employers with 50 employees or more will now have a decision. I could hire an illegal alien and not be penalized, not pay the $3,000 fine, or have to provide them health insurance, or I could get rid of the American worker, or keep the American worker and pay a fine. This is just ludicrous what's happening here, and hopefully
so we're going back to the
senses.
leadership, because you're a new congressman, relatively speaking, and you got all these people in leadership, quote leadership, Canner, Ryan. And who knows about Boehner, but these guys who are just want to get this, quote, issue off the table. So what do you say to them?
Well, how will the issue be off the table when our borders continue to remain open? It's really about politics, Laura. Let's face it. Nobody wants to admit that. But anytime you're talking about a pathway to citizenship, there's politics underlying that message, because the Senate claims, Democrats, that they want to secure the borders. That's why they added all the border patrol agents at the last minute.
That was the Republicans, That was the Republicans.
Right, exactly. And here in the House, that's what they claim. Well, then why don't we do that? Why don't we take this in a logical
so Congressman, we don't want to
step-by-
go over ground we've already tilled here, but look, the Democrats made it clear yesterday that they will accept no bill that does not offer a path to citizenship. That's the brass ring for them, because they know if they get that citizenship for millions and millions of people, they're going to bring in family members. I don't care what they say about chain migration. Of course, the chain migration is going to continue under this bill, and they're going to have a huge bump up in the number of registered Democrat voters. They believe that. That is a key for them. And so given that fact, what will you tell the Speaker of the House today, and Paul Ryan and Eric Cantor, about what the people of this country are demanding? The Republicans in this caucus, what are you going to tell the Speaker about putting forward any bill at this point?
Well, first of all, what's best for our country is, for national security reasons, to secure our borders. What's best for the American worker is to secure our borders and protect their jobs. That's what we should be doing. If they want to talk about politics, Laura, I'm going to explain to them my situation, where when you go out and talk to the most vulnerable workers, they're the ones who are going to lose their jobs. and they could be Democrats, Republicans, Independents, people of all races, nationalities. We need to be honest with what this plan will do to our country. And if they want to talk about the party, I believe this would be the end of the Republican Party winning national elections.
Well, I know you're offering a bill, 2 pieces of legislation to address illegal immigration. But basically, the biometric entry exit, some of that was already rejected in the amendment process in the Senate. They put some ridiculous provision in this Corker-Hoven-Schumer nonsense. But most people think it's it doesn't really mean much. It throws a lot of money at the problem, gets a lot of government contractors really happy. But that ultimately it would not do the trick. So why push this Visa Overstay Enforcement Act when we know we have an administration that's just not going to enforce this stuff?
Well, for national security reasons, we need to know who's coming in and out of the country. We look at 9/11. One of the hijackers obviously came on a student visa. 2 had their student visas approved months after they were dead. Nearly half of the people here illegally, it's coming through the visa. We can solve half of our illegal immigration problem if we make it a serious criminal offense for breaking our visa laws. Right now, the current law does nothing.
But Congressman, I don't mean to interrupt you, but we know this. I mean, we know this. You know this. But it has been now since September 11th, 12 years. Okay, this was already recommended by the 9/11 Commission. It was never done. So given the fact that Obama is president, Napolitano's head of Department of Homeland Security, which itself should be broken up, given that fact, why are Republicans spending all of this effort on this stuff? When it's the economy, jobs, and all of this all these other growth issues that can win this election in both 2014 and 2016. I just think this is a lot of energy being spent on this immigration. It's just not. They're not going to do it. They're going to do it. So why bother? I mean, I think it's probably a good bill. I'm not beating you up. Obviously, you and I agree, but I'm just talking about tactics here. It just seems like you get caught up in this. Well, we got to do something. I'm going to offer something. Why? Why offer something with these people?
It became an issue again because of the November election. Let's be honest. Immigration didn't mean anything to anybody here until after the presidential election. Then all of a sudden, we need to get this issue off the table. I believe there are many people here who don't really understand what this issue will mean to the American people and to the American worker. Larry.
You're talking about Republicans. You're talking about Republicans don't understand.
Exactly. It is an important issue. It is important to the American worker. 22 million Americans couldn't find work this morning when they got out of bed, or some could and just chose not to. But it is important for our national security, and we cannot make this a political football. We need to do what's right for our country. Is Boehner going to do the right thing here? Is Boehner going to do the right thing? Rich Lowry and Bill Kristol are now agreeing with me that there should be no bill. Republicans should move forward on comprehensive growth agenda, reducing taxes, reducing regulations, and bringing this focus on energy in this country and Keystone, all these issues. What do you think is going to happen? Until we can get people in the Senate and in the White House that will follow through, I believe we're spinning our wheels.
Spinning our wheels on immigration. Will Boehner do the right thing here?
I believe he will. I believe he's going to talk about border security first. I think that's what he's going to hear.
No bill, though, right? No bill? Will he push a bill?
I'm not certain. Hopefully, we'll push a border security bill first.
No. Well, I certainly hope we don't go to conference with some big shell bill that ends up getting swamped by the Senate bill. I think that's a disastrous path for the American worker, sir.
That's a fair. Yeah. Absolutely.
We appreciate it. Former mayor of the great Hazleton, Pennsylvania town, Congressman Lou Barletta. Congressman, we've been with you for years, and I just appreciate the work you're doing out there. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Laura.
All right, we'll take a break on the Laura Ingraham Show. When we come back, a moving tribute to 19 fallen firefighters. Don't go away.
The Laura Ingraham Show.